So, disclaimer, I'm not a gunsmith. This isn't advice. This is just you watching me take something apart and put it back together as I hope for the best. So I was looking around on Gunbroker, as I often do, and found myself this thing. It was advertised as broken or repair. It's Bryco 25. I guess they made a ton of them. They weren't super impressive, but I figured let's buy it and see if we can make it go pew pew pew. So on first inspection, safety's broke. It's got some electrical tape around the handle. Gun does cock. It does have the indicator. And it does fire. So that's about all I got to go off of right there. So time to start the disassembly and see what we find. I did have to purchase the mag separately. I picked that up off eBay for a couple bucks. If anybody's interested in what the total project cost me, if there's enough interest, I could just make a video kind of going through that whole process. But for now, I'm just going to stick to the tear it down and put it back together parts. So the grip's shot. Then right underneath there is half of the safety mechanism. So that right there is shot as well. And grip number 2 is trash. So I'm going to need a full set of them. And I've never taken one of these apart before, so don't do that. Get your finger over top of that and don't let that go flying. So, a quick glance, everything on the top end is there. I've got my firing pin spring, I've got firing pin, I've got that retaining cap that holds it back, and underneath that, you've got your slide spring. That's pretty much it for everything that involves the upper. And I was really impressed with how few parts there are in this. This is pretty simple. So after checking out these couple springs that came out of the top end, so far we got 2 broken grips and a broken safety switch. That's where we're at with it. So this half of the safety can come out, and then this little location I'm pointing at there is where the spring for the safety would go in, and that is missing as well. So that is one more part that's going to need to be sourced. So all the big parts that could come out did come out, and that seems to be the full extent of all the things that seem to be wrong with it. So this is it's not too bad. I mean, considering it could have been a complete basket case, it seems like it's just a few things missing and a few things to be replaced. I can deal with that. It's not super easy to line up the camera and the bore, but take a peek down there. The bore's not bad. It's enough to spin a bullet while it's flying out, so I can work with that. So this is where I kind of place everything out roughly in a schematic setup of how this gun came apart, and mostly so that when I'm looking at the parts diagram online, I can see what pieces I don't have and what pieces I do, and helps me figure out what to order. Fortunately, there's a lot of parts for this on eBay. I guess there's a lot of people disassemble these and chuck the frames, so any of the parts that you need are available. Just gotta order them and wait, which is my next step. So I ran this here through one of those ultrasonic washers, which I managed to not turn the camera on for, so you don't get to see that part. But tell you what, if you got something that you want to clean and you need to get dirt from places you can't see, those things really are fantastic, because the amount of stuff that came off of this was unbelievable. I never would have believed it. The shine it's got on it now, I did not expect it to come up this nice. So the guy that lent me that, thank you. You know who you are. I used about a 1/3 simple green and 2/3 water mix when I ran it through the machine, and now I'm just kind of making sure everything's dry and all ready to go, and looking for any kind of problems if there are any, but everything was in good shape. No cracks, no missing chunks, so time to reassemble. So, pretty simple. Just a little bit of Remington gun oil, just giving it a good wipe down everywheres. Figure since I ran it through a washing and stripped off everything from it, I'm putting oil every place I can get it, just to make sure it's got a nice protective coat on it, and getting it all back together nice and slow. Make sure I don't miss anything, because there's a lot of surfaces to apply oil to. This ended up being one of my favorite little bits, is that little rubber indicator on the back of the firing pin. It shows you when the gun is cocked. I don't know, for some reason I think that's fun. So this was definitely the most fiddly little bit. The trigger return spring here. That fought with me quite a while, trying to get that down and in there, and trying to get the trigger back where it belonged, but it gets done eventually. Just it's a lot of fussing. And that seems to be the trick. Right there's a cutout in the trigger, and that needs to end up fully in the trigger guard. Once that does, everything lines up, but that's the part I was having the hardest time with. So this spring for the safety, and the little safety switch. I ended up picking them up off of eBay. They can be had for just a few dollars. These are pretty common failure items on these, so there's a lot of people out there selling them. And once you get them, they just pop right in. That's it. Those parts are fixed. So just like the spring and the safety, I got this stuff off of eBay, and I like this seller as far as they've got some fun colors for grips. Anything I can, if I can add a little color to it, I like to. So this one here on the left-hand side, there's a little, I guess you'd want to say like a little barrel that sticks up on the frame. And the hole in the grip was just a hair tinier than that barrel. So I just used a screwdriver to ream that out and put that back on, and then it snapped right in like it wanted to be there. So look at that color scheme. Isn't that fantastic? I think that's fantastic. So that's the last grip. It's all back together. See how it goes. Safety works. Keeps that slide from coming back when the safety's engaged. Slide works a lot nicer. Trigger pull's good. So far, so good. The cleanup and a couple fresh parts, and this thing feels a completely different machine. So this right here is a better look at how that indicator works for showing you that the gun's cocked. Pull back, got that little rubber cap sticks out, and it goes away when the trigger's been pulled. So it lets you know if it's ready to be fired. So this right here is a round minus the primer and the powder. I use these as dummy rounds to kind of make sure everything chambers properly. So one in the mag, see how it feeds. Smooth. And it ejects. So we'll run it through a couple more times, but that is a function test. It does function. So we got one thing to do after all this, and that's make a couple rounds and run them through, see how it goes. There you go. So that went smooth. One down, next one will be two. That cardboard box there is supposed to be catching my brass, because I reload and I like to save my brass and can't seem to line up with it to get it right. And on the third round there, I finally got a piece of brass to land in that cardboard box. And there you have it, from broken to working. I enjoyed making this, so I'm gonna keep my eye out for some more fixer-uppers. So, till next time, enjoy yourself.